What up? What up? What up? What's going on, people? What it do? What it do? Friday, 5 at 5. Man, oh man, oh man. Let's see if we can get things going over here. First off, shout out to the CIA. We know how that old thing goes. One love, FBI. We still like y'all over here. All right. Just finished shooting a couple of quick videos. And I actually felt like coming on and popping on and doing this impromptu stream before I got to get out of here and do some stuff. This topic has been coming been coming up more and more recently. More and more recently, this whole notion of how to run a business, how to build a business, and as somebody who has had an extensive sales background, and then who was built. This is the second business I've actually been in. The first one was an advertising agency, the PR firm. Building a business today, the rules have not changed. It's sellers and buyers. It's products and services and a marketplace. The difference is how you actually communicate your message from what you're offering to the market. And see, this online thing, I've been selling it. I used to actually sell access to the internet. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, large organizations thought the internet was a fad. There are people who were around 98, 99, thought the internet was just a fad. It was, that's never going to last. So they never actually made any kind of real internet marketing strategy. Hollywood, far behind. But if you look on YouTube in the last 12 months, you started to see more Hollywood movie stars running their channel. Kevin James of Everybody Loves Raymond, not Everybody Loves Raymond, the King of Queens, and of Hitch. He's now just started his channel. Now his channel's 7 years old, but he started uploading now. And I'm watching his views. He's knocking out about 100,000 views a day on a channel with 50,000 subscribers. What's the point? What I'm saying is YouTube is about to get real full real fast with people with far more money than a lot of us content creators have, and this is going to be TV. Network TV in a couple of years. So, if I were out there trying to start a business online, is YouTube still a good place to start a business? It's all in how you use.
Good afternoon, Kevin. What's up, CIA?
What's going on, fam? It's all in how you approach the online space. First off, we call, a lot of people will talk about being online is not the real world. It's the real world. Real billions and billions, trillions of dollars are transacted online every day. It is very much the real world. I submit it's more real than a lot of brick and mortars because there are a lot of people who have a business locally. Shout out to Craig Harper, Tipsy Tulips, their local cupcake concern here. Craig Harper could not have done what he did, what he can do now with Tipsy Tulips and send them around the country and around the world because no one would have known about him being in Atlanta. But I'm going to focus on YouTube. YouTube has a very definite way of building businesses and making platforms work. They teach classes on it. VidCon and Creator Academy, Influencer Academy. There are tried and true methods about doing business. And the thing is, I've had people ask, how do you build a channel? Well, let me tell you, there are a lot of ways you don't do it. You build a channel like you build any other business. You got a product or service to give to the market. You're going to either go the old-fashioned way, try to do it yourself, but YouTube has a very tried and true way. It's through collaborations, partnerships, brand deals. But one of the most effective ways to build a business, no matter what it is you're doing, whatever it is you're doing, cash is king. I don't give a damn what your product or service is. You may think it's the best thing since sliced bread. The market gets to decide. And if you don't have enough cash to keep the lights on or enough cash to keep the products on the shelf, if you don't have enough money, you can't compete. So cash is king. Especially when you're starting out, cash is king. So as a small business, you don't have unlimited funding, even if you have a line of credit. So you have to be strategic in how you actually spend your money. And one of the best places to spend money is online advertising. Right now, YouTube advertising is still underpriced. So is Instagram. Instagram is right now beta testing an ad program for IGTV, and Instagram is finding a way to monetize and have basically AdSense for Instagram, AdSense for IG, AdSense for Facebook. That's coming. TikTok. TikTok is a great marketplace if you're targeting people, 13 to 17, because in 10 years they will be the new customers. So what it comes right down to is cash is king. You gotta bring it in. You gotta convert. That means whatever you do, if you're not good at sales, you're gonna fail. Because if you can't make enough sales, you can't keep. It doesn't matter how good you are. That big thing is a lot of times people think if you just build a better product, people will beat a path to your door. That has never worked. That's never worked. It's not about building a better path and people will beat a path to your door. No, build a better product. Better products don't win. You don't believe me? Why is McDonald's the #1 fast food restaurant in the world? Because they have great burgers? No, they have a superior strategy, franchising and real estate. You got to sell it. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it. And you got to sell it to a market that'll buy. Selling it to a market that won't buy is a poor strategy. If the market doesn't buy, you don't go out and bring another product to the market. You go sell your product to another market. If I'm selling this and I'm selling it to a demographic or a market that won't buy, I don't come back and try to sell this. No, I take this and I go sell it over there. Money. Money, cream, cash rules everything around me. But the #2 thing is speed. You got to be able to move fast out here. You don't have 10, 20 years to develop a market, do market research and all this bullshit back and forth. You got to be able to fucking move. And money actually allows you to move quicker. And here's the thing, if you're gonna run into a problem area, you better make your mistakes fast. You don't have 10 years to determine whether or not this product offering is working or not. As content creators, you put out a piece of content, you see how the numbers work. If it stays working, you keep doing it. If it doesn't work, you move and do something else. Same thing with business. See, the rules have never changed. And honestly, a lot of people, especially my generation, we're not quick enough. We don't understand that you have to be fast in this business. You need cash, you got to be able to move fast. But I'm telling you why that those two things tend to fall apart and why many people who may have a great product or service fail in a small business market. Fail in order to get a business running because they are the problem. Any CEO or any owner is the main limitation of the company. Thinking you know everything. You may have developed a product or service and it may be revolutionary. That don't matter. That don't mean you're the best salesperson in the world. That does not mean you're the best person in marketing and advertising, logistics. And this is why many people fail to build an effective business. They'll have enough cash on hand. You're not moving fast enough, meaning you're making successes fast enough or failing fast enough to make better decisions. And lastly, let's say you have money. Let's say you are moving at a pretty breakneck speed. You will hit a plateau if you never outsource anything or hire anybody or hire a consultant. Shout out to Dame Dash. Talked about smart CEOs, smart businessmen bring in consultants. Wall Street, Fortune 500, 100, Fortune 100, 500, 1,000, 2,000 companies, they don't make moves without consultants. They don't rely on their own internal processes because they're too close, they're too biased. A consultant, a coach, is somebody who can come outside of your organization and tell you where the opportunity areas are or you are. But you know the problem is most small business owners are too damn egotistical and arrogant to move over. They're too much control freaks. Too much of a control freak, too much of a know-it-all, too cheap, and it's all fear-based stuff. It's all fear-based. So we hear abundance mentality versus scarcity mentality. You cannot tell me you have an abundance mentality if you cannot collaborate and partner with people. You don't have an abundance mentality if you have not shown a track record of being able to collaborate, partner, and grow vertically. You can say it, but if you don't do that, that's the point. Meaning my videos. I am going to actually take it and give it to a professional. To allow him to do one video a week is going to cost me quite a bit of money to get it done. Now the thing is, when I first
I started a gaming company. Between planning, coordinating, and networking, it's tiring. It's taught me a lot about the importance of image and perception. Cherish your connections.
I was talking to a content creator the other day, and he was talking about how burned out he is, and I'm like, dude, you do everything. You gotta delegate. And see, that's the real big thing. The problem is so many people, so many of us building businesses are still playing against fear. It's working now, but if I let any of this go, it could all fall apart and I'll have to be out there getting the job. No. You got to go all in. That's what the last thing was about. Go all in. Go all in and say, you know what? What are the key tasks you as the CEO, you as the owner should be doing? What is it that you need to be doing? And I use the example of a closing pitcher. A closing pitcher comes in to end the game. He doesn't pitch the entire game. He comes in to pitch 3 innings. Some crazy pitch just to end it out. As the CEO, your job is to put the best people around you. Hire the best people and stay focused very narrow where you are. Not trying to do everything. But if you're too cheap or too scared or too afraid to let someone else do it, you'll have to control everything. Control freaks tend to really spin out of control because it's all about, well, I make a great product. And if I give it to somebody else, they won't do as good of a job. That's up to you. See, quality is subjective. I have a certain standard of quality that I have for myself, my life, even my videos. But the question is, why are there people that make videos in their car who can run millionaires and people who have a tremendous amount of equipment and all this stuff struggling to even get a channel running? Because quality is in the eye of the beholder. What do you need to do as a business owner where you need to focus your attention and where is 80% good enough? If you're doing everything, can you outsource this over here and just get it done at an 80% level? Now, you may not like 80% for yourself, but does your customer accept 80%? Money, speed, consultants. And the last thing, consultants teach you how to fuck your feelings. Fuck your feelings. Your feelings don't matter. What you feel doesn't matter. It's the data. You make business decisions on data, not feelings. Analytics. You don't pay good money to hire a consultant to come in and bring you data and then you trust your gut. That's a poor business person. So if you really want to build a business, are you going to be able to manage all of these things? And these things are not all learned at one time. This is why your best bet is to always have quality consultants around you. Because everyone reaches a different level of maturity or a different level of understanding in their journey. When you first leave working and start working for yourself, you know how to do what you do well. You don't know the business of it. Let me give you an example. I have plenty of friends who are musicians. Great musicians. Some very creative artists and painters and photographers. They're great at their craft. They suck at the business of music. They suck at the business of photography. They suck at the business of art. Especially creative types tend to be temperamental, intellectually arrogant. It's like, well, great, you may make great art, but you're a fucking asshole. No one likes you. So you need someone to soften your brand. You need someone to make you relatable. You have to be relatable to the market. You choose what you're selling. It's like me. Am I always going to be relatable to a YouTube demographic that's 18 to 34 in a suit? No. It doesn't matter if I know better. If I know that a suit, it doesn't matter. You have to be relatable. This is a young male platform that skews white. So 18 to 24, 25 to 34, different demographic. You have to talk to that demographic, those two demographics, different than you talk to a 35 to 44 and a 45 to and above. You have to talk to men different than women. And then there are also cultural things. Can you accept all those realities and make a business decision? Or are you going to try to make shit work the way you want to? YouTube as a business. The marketplace still works. Even though it's saturated, it is still the best place to actually build a brand. There's riches and niches. But in order to build YouTube to its ultimate success, you're going to have to build a channel to where you show your face. You're going to collaborate. You're going to have to show a certain amount of yourself. You're going to have to be enthusiastic. You cannot argue back and forth, beef, da-da-da. You're going to need brand deals, advertisers, structured discipline. That means having a business plan. That means having a marketing plan. And that means having a content strategy. All those things sit above the YouTube personality. Meaning you can't, if you 80 plus percent of your content on YouTube needs to be pre-recorded videos in order to hit the algorithm. Live streaming is immediate, but it's low value, low content value, and the platform is not made for this. That's why the advertising rates are so low. That's why they put the super chat and all that other function in because the system will never work this way. But YouTube in and of itself, they're about to make they're going to be making changes with this live stream thing because they're tired of the content, honestly. Because YouTube can't really run ads against this right now is making YouTube no money. They can run ads against it at the end because I have a track record of having a certain kind of content. But if I stop this video, turned it private, YouTube just had all the cost. They had all the cost of me live streaming, using their service, using their platform. What do you think that's going to happen? This is what consultants do. That's why I say as a small business, the best thing you can do is once you start to actually stabilize your cash flow, the first employee you need to hire is a consultant. You don't need to go out and just hire an employee. You need to bring a consultant in to see where the opportunities areas are in your business because your best thinking got you where you are right now. You're pretty much maxed out. If you think you can work harder and work more hours, it's not going to equate. If you're working 10 hours today, what are you going to work? 20 hours to double your money? There are only 24 hours in a day. You got to get more money out of the day. And you're going to have to bring in people that can actually help you and write a business plan, write a marketing plan, write a content strategy. And then people got to do that work. You got to pay them. So how are you going to pay them? You're going to have to pay them through actually collaborating. I'll tell you right now, if you're interested in building a platform or interested in working with me right now, the worst thing to do is to send me a DM on Instagram. I don't read them. I get a DM on Instagram and it says, let me just go through. I get these every day. Every day I get DMs or IMs about business. So much so that I have an automated message that says I don't give free advice via Instagram or Facebook. Let me see. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Just a second. Where was that long message at? Somebody sent me a 10-page, a huge message, man. It was like 3 pages long, and I'm like, are you serious? You really think I'm going to read all this? And the person was like very, seemed like a decent person, but I'm like, no. The worst thing to do is to go to somebody who can help you out and tell them what you want from them. That's the worst thing to do. The worst thing to go to somebody with a platform or a business and say, hey, you've already done all the work to become successful. Make me successful too. Let me put my product or service in your store and then you sell it for me and I take all the money, okay? And then I'll become a patron. Or I'll hook you up. What the fuck? No. You wouldn't go to Neiman Marcus with that. You wouldn't go to Saks Avenue with that. You wouldn't go anywhere with that. And you don't approach a content creator that way either, because if you recognize that it's taking some money, time, and effort, oh, here it is. I want you guys to see how long this message is. I don't know if you can see on the camera. 1, 2, 3. Look at. I want you to scroll. 1. Look at that. Look at that. Look how long that is. Look how long that is. That's a DM. Let me do that again. Okay. Let me show you the top. Okay. Here's the top. Page 1. Hold on. This person did all that in a DM. I have not read it. And I won't read it. Because I'll tell you how it started off. Hi, Kevin. My name is Blank. I've been listening to your content for months now. I dig your content. You drop a lot of jewels. It's always the butter up. I'm messaging you in regards to seeking advice. You've been watching my content for months. You know I have a website and I provide services. You don't write me a 10-page DM. You go to my website, and if you really want my advice, you buy it. You pay for it. You don't send me a DM telling me how great of a guy you are and how bad your situation is or anything else, because you don't do that to anybody else. This is not the way to do it. If you have a product or a service you're trying to actually collaborate with the larger content creator, you either go and figure out how you can be a benefit to their platform if they will give you a chance to talk to them. You got to go in with your hat in hand. Hey, I see you're doing this. You got this initiative. You have your project upgrade going. You have your MIT. You have this. I would love to be able to talk to you to see how I could help you increase your attendance or this or that. I do this and that. Show me how you can do it. You got my attention. That's how you do this. If they're bigger than you, that's how you do it. But if you need their product or service, you don't go in with a sob story. You either afford to pay for it or you don't. You do yourself a disservice by going out to business that way because you devalue somebody's brand. That never works. Because even if they would go give it to somebody else, they're going to give it to somebody else who approaches them the right way. If you have a good product or service, you need to learn how to do business. Speak the language of business, money. If you want to partner with somebody or collaborate with somebody who's larger than you, then you need to either add mega value to their platform, because it can't be one for one. It can't be, I'll give you an interview and then you come to my channel. They got 50,000 subscribers and you got 50. It's not a one-to-one. You go buy time. Go buy. Oh, I'd love to be on your channel. How much does an interview cost? $300 for an hour? Great. And then you go interview and then you get whatever you get. See, when you go buy an ad buy in TV, radio, billboard, or newspaper, they don't give you any guarantees about this is how much a TV ad costs, this is how much a radio ad costs, this is how much billboard, this is how much newspaper is. All they tell you is their circulation, their subscribers, their footprint. That's all they tell you. You get a chance to be you get a chance to be seen by their audience. That's it. See, those old rules of advertising still exist, but today people want to use this digital environment and act like those old rules don't exist. Well, why would I pay $300 for an interview? Well, you take it for free, right? Right. But if you don't pay for it, then you're obviously saying it's not worth anything to you. Good. Go out and see how much it costs to gain a subscriber. The cost of client acquisition. How much does it cost for you to acquire a client? This is the basis. This is the basis of the show Shark Tank. Do you know your numbers? If you don't know your numbers, you're not a business person. If you're enumerate, You're not a business person, and you need somebody in your business that understands the numbers, because that's what it runs on. It doesn't run on your great recipe. It doesn't run on your charisma. It runs on fucking numbers. You don't go to the bank or investors or creditors. You have to come with a plan, an idea, projections, numbers, forecasts. Same thing on online. It's called familiarity. No, it's called, we're not even familiar. I don't know these people, Edmund. I'm not familiar with any of them. No offense. You know me. But I can't know 50,000, 70,000 people. I can't. It's not that you don't want to help. It's like, okay, well, if you really want to do business, let's do business. If you have a product or service, especially in the digital environment, what does your digital image look like? How many times have I had someone come and say, hey, I'd love to do business with you, and I've decided to look at them. They'll look at their Instagram or look at their website. And I'm like, wait, you're a photographer? Look at your digital footprint. Look at your Facebook that's linked to your business account. This is why image and perception is so important. This is why the smart thing to do, if you're really serious, the first person you hire is a consultant. Shout out to Obsidian. He actually took some advice that I actually put out for free, and will tell you his business has improved by updating his image. You have to continually make sure your message is updating, because here's the thing. Just because it works right now, 5 years from now, your audience is going to change. You lose 20% of your audience every year. People age out. People's interests change. You have to stay updated and current. You can't just talk about the same thing and expect it to stay fresh. This is what consultants will come in and do. They'll say, okay, you have this message. The book, How to Make Friends and Influence People, was written back in 1920. How many different copies how many different revisions of that book are there? Dozens. How to make friends and influence people. How to make friends and influence people in the digital age. So, now, I wanted to see what would happen. Now, I'm talking business on Friday at 5 o'clock. We have 223 people in here. 223 people. Let's see how this is ranking. Let's see how this is ranking. Let's see what the numbers are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 4 people. Not bad. So the question is, we are in this is my personal opinion. We are undergoing the greatest change of communication and evolution since the printing press. There are going to be people 5 years from now look back and they're blown in major opportunity because they did not capitalize on the opportunity that YouTube and Instagram offers. You guys saying, I love the new office, I love this, love that. Yeah, because guess what? I am changing. I am getting ready for a relaunch. Like the easel, like the accent lighting over there. Yep. Getting ready for a relaunch. Because at the end of the day, sales is always top of mind for me. Speaking of sales, if you want to get some one-on-one advice, improve this is everything except fashion and business. If you want some actual one-on-one career coaching, I will tell you right now, anybody that I've done an hour of career coaching will tell you, I've got the letters to prove it. I just don't put people's name out there, but they'll tell you, goddamn, I've got ideas that can help me go in different directions that I never even thought of. Interpersonal communication, how to become a more effective communicator, public speaker, or presenter. That's at the core of what I do. I've been in interpersonal communication and sales for almost, going on the better part of 25 years. I'm a certified professional at it. Image consulting, corporate image consulting, all this stuff comes together. See, oftentimes you got to ask yourself a question. Even if you don't think, this is one of the main things that people, as business people, fell down on. You figure out how you can use somebody's service. Meaning, I've have people, I'll use my example. People will come and say, I would love to be on your platform. I would love to work with you. But right now, I don't need your services. Then you find something. See, you got to find something that you need. You go into a restaurant. How many times you go into a restaurant and you need to use the bathroom? You just don't go in, so you go buy a soda or something. You go buy something. That's right. That's how you do that. When I go to look for somebody I want to partner with that's higher, that's bigger than me or has more value, I look how I can patronize their business. You got a book? I'll buy 5. You got a product or a service? I'll buy it. I'm a vegetarian and you sell barbecue? Great. You got bread, you got vegetables, you got desserts? Great. You got water? I'll take it. It's jab, 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 right hook. Shout out to Gary Vee. Give, 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 then ask. But see, that in there lies a rub. Fitness mom, you'll love this. This therein lies a rub. If you want to take before you give, 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 then ask. So you give, 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 then you ask, and if you don't get back your ask, you can't ask for your stuff back. All you're asking is an opportunity to talk to them, to do business. See, too many people today are selfish. I had a conversation last night with 4 women and a couple of guys. And the funny thing, they all came down to they would get married to somebody, they would have children with somebody, but the women said they would not give the men their purse. And this purse was like a $20,000 purse. I'm like, so you'll get married and have a child with a man. He'll be responsible for life and death, and he can actually have his name as your, in case of emergency. But you wouldn't allow him to have the purse, that's an expensive purse. And when it really came down to, I said, well, you got to look at that. If there's an item that you value more than a relationship, there's a fear here. See, people, if you have a scarcity mentality, you will be forever limited in life and in business. An abundance mentality is the only thing that frees you up to be able to be fast, make the decisions you need to, and react accordingly. Because you're not trying to minimize risk. You're trying to maximize profits. There's 2 ways to go about this. Some people want to minimize risk. So everything they do is very, very, very minimal, very slow, and the claim to fame is, I don't make a lot of mistakes. Great. But who tends to be richer? Accountants or financiers? The people who balance the book. I used to hate accounting because you'd have to spend hours trying to resolve and find 2 pennies. When I was in accounting is when I realized I never want to be in accounting, because I'm like, shit, just tow 2 pennies in there. Let's get it moving. But there are people who will spend hours to make sure those books balance. And then CEOs balance that shit to the nearest $10. You know how I'll fix it? Fuck 2 cents. I'll make an extra $200. I'll cover that 2 cent loss. Then I'll go employ somebody to find that 2 cents because we don't want to leak anything. Oh, that was game right there. See, most people are like, what? You'll make more money, but you're still leaking money, and that's not good business. You're leaking money. No. You make 200. You employ somebody to go find that 2 cents. You're not losing anything, but you're still worried about top line growth. An abundance mentality keeps you fresh, innovative, collaborative, open, moving, circulating. 48 laws of power. Do not build a fortress around yourself. It's one of the most dangerous things. But so many people, especially small businesses, they build fortresses around themselves. They cannot collaborate, cannot interact, cannot evolve. You don't evolve, you're not quick, you don't have any speed to market, your cash and your revenues dip. Then somebody comes along and steals your idea, enters your marketplace, copies your idea, does it better, buys your idea for pennies on the dollar, and blows it up. I said this on Bernard's stream today. I was like, even there are things going on right now. So I'm like, we've seen this picture before. What are you going to do? And whatever sector you're in, whatever business you're in, there's a top dog and there's a lower person. The market gets to decide. If you're not performing where the top people are, if you're at the bottom, then you got to do something. I'll give you an example. Allstate Insurance, State Farm Insurance, Farmers Insurance. All of them recruit people to come sell their insurance products. You will have people in the same city, same region, selling with the same kind of licenses, selling to the same market. You'll have somebody making $300,000 or $400,000, $500,000 a year, and you'll have somebody in that same city making. The majority of people will be making around $30,000 to $50,000. You have some people making high six figures, but the majority of people are making down here. What's the difference? See, the product or the service is the same. The market is the same. Questions? How many people can honestly say that? How many men can honestly say you understand business? You understand a lot of the things I just talked about. How many people can say they understand the things I talked about? Unfortunately, not enough guys understand any of this. This is why we ended up with the snapping, roasting, cooking, beefing, and all this other kind of stuff. Conflict. Conflict is easy. Growth is hard. Growth is hard. See, when I talk about, I gave the country club example where I saw two men that I knew hated each other for a lifetime over some junior high shit. One guy did something to a guy's sister in junior high, and then it spilled over into high school. He stole his girlfriend and he ended up marrying her. Some old Hatfield and McCoy stuff. I see these two very rich men who own two different companies, and they had to hammer out a merger between the companies, a partnership, because they were both vulnerable. They were both going to be taken over. So the thing was either they joined forces or they would be wiped out of the market. Go to this country club, and these guys, from the moment we said go, these dudes was cussing each other out from 8 to 11. Everything was a point of contention. Everything. Nothing was easy. From the moment the negotiations started, it was difficult. Then we broke for lunch. They put all that shit to the side. Start talking. They shared lunch. Start talking about the kids and memories in high school. They went from hating each other, turning red, frothing at the mouth. Calling each other son of a bitch, you sap sucker, you cock sucker. These guys hated each other. But they started talking about, friends that they knew, politicians. After lunch was over, they went back to yelling at each other. Deal got hammered out. You know how when they signed the deal, this guy had to be at this table, this guy had to be at this table. They had to go. And they had to sign at the same time. So this guy didn't sign first, this guy didn't sign first. Both the folks' attorneys looked over the deals. One went out one way, one went out another way. But you know what happened? As they left, both of them left multimillionaires with each one of their respective generations protected. Hundreds of people's jobs were saved.
How do you transition from a full-time corporate career to a business owner?
They saved hundreds of jobs. You know how many families' future was tied on those two businesses not going under? And they're thriving to this day. They've actually tripled the size of either organization. How do you go from a full-time corporate career to a business owner? Don't know what kind of business you're in. What kind of business are you in? I don't know. And here's the thing. Give me the kind of business you're in. But here's the sad thing. Every individual thing you do for a company is not a standalone business. I.e., you could be in full-time career in customer service. That does not transition well into a standalone career accountants can do that kind of stuff. It depends on what it is you're doing. Risk assessment is how
Risk
you.
assessment is how you make it. Long as there is a chance for a small increase, you take it. Another network, another relationship brings revenue.
Right. It's the all-in mentality. Risk management, but you got to take risk. I talked about this the other day, but sooner or later, everybody that has ever made it had to go all in on a bluff. They had to go all in on the bluff. He said, how do you transition from a full-time corporate to a business owner? Well, I'm going to give you the general thing. You go hire a consultant and sit down and talk to them. You make a plan. If you want to leave corporate America, you're going to need a plan. You're going to need money. You're going to need speed to market. You're going to need a lot of things you're going to need. And do you have all these skills? See, luckily for me, I came in corporate America. I was in sales. And sales was the thing that any business needs to survive. What is the business going to offer? No. I mean, yeah. See, whatever widget, it doesn't matter. I mean, you need to identify that, and you also need to know who your ideal customer is. But you could offer, if the market isn't, like if I were to go sell buggy whips right now, there was a time where people had horse and carriage. How many carriage dealers do you see these days? What industry are you going to be in? And at the end of the day, who's going to sell it? Being in business is something you hear a lot of people talking about. I'm a business person. I'm a business person. I'm a business person. Okay. But is your business scalable and reproducible? That's the real question. Can your business be scaled and reproduced? Meaning, does your business only function when you are there? If so, you need to hire a consultant. See, the internet has allowed small business owners to not have to do what used to be. You had to go get your product or service, had to go get a brick and mortar location, go into massive debt to start a business, and then compete against larger concerns. That's pretty much been erased. You can actually build a digital business, but you still got to go sell it. You still got to go sell it. I said this today, if I were still out in corporate America, I would be going to become a consultant. The person who asked how to go from corporate career. You still never told me what industry you were in. So I'll answer a couple more questions. How do you transition from a full-time corporate career to a business owner? Engineering cannabis. You never said what you're doing. But one of the most surefire ways is to take whatever you're doing for the company right now and become a consultant of that thing for the industry. Whatever you're doing right now and become a consultant for that thing, for that industry. Online businesses. You don't just go. Another thing, get over the knowledge of thinking you just go work for yourself and you're gonna be rich. You're gonna work longer, you're gonna work harder, and you're gonna make far less money. This looks glamorous, but you guys only see 3 to 5% of what we really do. When I started my business, I worked more hours, ate more shit. I wasn't booked 40 hours a week with image appointments. Some stuff worked, some stuff didn't. Some offerings worked, some things didn't. You're in the trucking industry, lots of opportunity. It's consolidated. Well, yeah, but what are you going to do? There's opportunity, but what are you going to do? You can drive a truck, but you're just one person. Automation is coming for logistics too. What are you going to do? Yeah, most people think they're B's when they're actually S's or E's. How do you feel about borrowing from your 401k to start a business? Yeah, that's the all-in mentality. Shit, borrowing from your 401k. I'm presuming that means because you can't go get a loan from a bank and can't get financing. I said this earlier today. You have a great idea that's vetted by a third party consultant. You should be able to go get a line of credit for that. The worst way to start a business is out of your own money. That's the worst, most risky way. But if that's the only way, that's what you do. Because here's the thing: if you won't bet on you, why should the market care? I can, but I'd rather owe. I can, but I'd rather owe myself. That makes no sense. Let me tell you what's wrong with that. You can go get a line of credit, but you'd rather owe yourself. See, you're thinking still from a scarcity mentality, still onesies and twosies. But if you borrowed enough money and you actually could produce 5 times as much as you could, then the money. So if you had X amount from your 401k, and the outcome is going to be Y, but if you could get 5X and you could produce 5Y, then I would gladly go take the 5X, take the 5Y, pay it back, and then take the increases after the loan is paid off. It's a mindset. The difference between going from corporate and being a career is stop thinking like an employee. Stop thinking like a paycheck. Start thinking like an owner. What I just said, go get the money, because if what you're saying was the way to work, then why don't all small businesses, why don't the bigger companies do it that way? They go get a line of credit. They go get investors. That's what Shark Tank is. I'll come invest in your business, and then I'll take this amount for this amount of years, then you buy me out, then you got the rest. Storage money is made from truck is made from trailers. Yeah, but still, if it's all about you, if you're the production, you only got 24 hours in the same 7 days. Can you scale you? Is your business scalable? Thank you. If you're going to scale your business successfully, you need to borrow money. Yep. You want to open a business, but you need knowledge and have a level of organization when you're starting off. Uh, yeah, I can't argue that. But one thing, anything else, is you got to be able to speak the language of business. See, the product or service is irrelevant. Can you actually make the relationships? Understand something. Making money is a social activity. Are you a social person? See, it's why it's hard for introverts to really become thriving business owners, because there's a social aspect to becoming rich. There's a social aspect to building a thriving organization. And when you say that, most people want to push back and say, well, no, I know a dude that's an asshole and he's like, that's not the norm. See, I'll say this other thing. Oftentimes, the smartest people are not making the money. I learned this lesson a long time ago. I'm smart, and it's my biggest weakness. Most intelligent people are arrogant with their intelligence. And then you find out the most C-level people are mind-numbingly simple. to the point to where they're like, well, why is he the boss? He's dumb. It's that dumbness because he can do the simple thing. I'll give you an example. To all my extremely intelligent people, why is a manhole cover round? A manhole cover, the thing that fits over the drain. Why is a manhole cover round? This is a business question that was asked before several engineering concerns, asked at a huge engineering conference. They broke people up into teams of 6, and they all came back with their answers. And some of the answers were mind-blowing. Talking about flows and pipes and Bernoulli equations and this and that and this and that. And it was just fantastic. The presentations were off the chain. It was written. But then they asked a group of fourth graders. They asked groups of fourth graders, and the fourth graders came back and had it done in under 30 minutes. The answer, a manhole cover is round because a manhole is round. Smart people tend to overcomplicate shit to justify their intelligence, whereas a lot of times the simple answer is the easiest. Knowing everything about a sector, knowing everything about this or that, if it does not translate into outcomes, then what good does it? What good is it to know? Pirates of Silicon Valley, there's a scene with the Noah Wiley playing Steve Jobs and another guy playing Bill Gates, talking about the rich neighbor thing, and the Steve Jobs character says, "We're better than you. We're still better than you. Yeah, you beat me and you got the market first, and you basically stole my idea and sold it. You stole the idea that we were going to steal from Xerox, so we were going to steal from Xerox and sell it. But you got there and stole it first and copied what I did. Not fair, but you're both doing the same thing. But my stuff is better than yours. You don't get it. It don't matter. I got the contracts. It doesn't matter. When I learned that I didn't have to be right, stop trying to be right all the time, just live with being correct, speed to market increased. I started hanging out with successful people and C-level folks and interviewing these folks and realized that they make really, really simple decisions. They go hire smart people and let them wring their hands in research and development, but then they take the profits. They say, oh, here's the answer. Because the manhole cover's round. To keep it from falling in the hole, the lid won't fall through, so you can roll it since it's heavy. See? It's easy to roll. See how complicated it is? It's easy to roll. No, it's because the hole is round. That's it. It just fits the hole. People have to know, like, and trust you to buy and collaborate with you. That is so not true. That is so not true. So bad, so that I gotta go ahead and pay special attention. Carl says, people have to know, like, and trust you before they buy and collaborate with you. Well, really, Carl? So that means everybody that you buy stuff from, you know them, you like them, and you trust them. So you make that decision at every purchase level. You eat 3 times a day. And unless you cook, you're going to some sort of food place. Do you know the owner? How well do you like them? What do you like about them? What do you know about them? No, you don't. You don't know 90% of the people you buy from. We put these things on businesses. And I just gave an example of 2 guys that hated each other and did a multi-million-dollar deal. You do business. It ain't about knowing you, liking you, trusting you. Does it make business sense? Then if it makes business sense, all that other stuff can become a factor. If you have a good business deal on the table and it makes good number sense, but you say, I'm not going to do business because I don't like him, you are a poor businessman. If you're a CEO of an organization and you pass over a deal that's good business, the board should get rid of you. What I mean about being correct and not being right. How many times do you see people who argue over semantics? How many times do you see people argue over it all depends on what that means? You see that on YouTube all the time. People arguing all the time, arguing. I tend to not argue. I'm like, oh, I don't have to be right. I'm not trying to be right with you. I just get on to the next point. It's not that important that I'm right on every point, that I prove that I'm intellectually superior on each point. It's more important that I get to the outcome. I made a live stream a couple of weeks ago and said, can these men do business? And I said, name me the large concern that makes sales and targets, or makes the majority of profit selling. And I kind of reiterated that on the stream earlier today. And I'm like, well, ultimately, is there a model that exists to where, and it came back that ultimately we went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then it turns out people that I'm going back and forth with all had the same experience in their own life or knew about it. I'm like, well, just get to the point. There are there are plenty of times people want to argue and be right. I don't care about being right. I'd rather be correct. 2 plus 2 is 4. Well, no, not always. Sometimes it's 3 plus 1. Sometimes it's 5 minus 1. Sometimes it's 10 minus 6. There are times, though, when it's 1 plus 3. And I'm like, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm like, all right, you're right, but I'm correct. Keep it moving. I'm talking about online sales. We know the brand bullshit. People buy from people online all day long without knowing them, like you're talking about. See, that's the whole thing. I said it earlier. You're late. You're late. You're late. So you go ahead and sit down and catch up. People think the online world and think online and offline are two different worlds. They're the same. They operate according to the same rules. So people buy from folks all day long. You know how many times people put their credit card out or their PayPal account out or something, and end up, I shouldn't have bought from them. That was a website, and I saw a deal, and it said so and so, so I gave them my credit card. Come on, man. Last thing, one of the biggest ways of hindering business is to assume everybody thinks like you and buys like you. When I was in advertising, this was one of the most frustrating things to talk to a business owner. You'd actually present an advertising product to them to help them target their demographic. And you could actually show them by the numbers that they were going to get the outcome that they needed. But you're selling yellow pages. Yellow page advertising. And I actually have people tell me that a phone call from a Google advertisement is better than a phone call from a yellow page advertisement. There's no data to support that.
Great show, Uncle Kev.
There's no data.
What do you think about opening a gas station/store?
What do I think about opening a gas station? I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to own that business. But what's the market, and how is it scalable? That's really what I'm thinking about. I just lost my train of thought. Could sit there and show the business owner. You have had, from your yellow page ad, you had 70 phone calls the last month, and each call lasted 3 minutes. You're telling me your people were on the phone for 3 minutes because they're trying to tell you all their solicitation calls, their this and that. We automatically factor those out. And we even have call recording. We listen to samples of your calls where your people are on the phone with prospective customers, but they can't close. But they want to cancel their yellow page advertising when you can show them that if your people could just close and sell at just normal rates, how many times do you need to talk to somebody? 70 times. You should be able to close business. Nope. They found a reason that for the yellow page ad to not work. But then they would go spend 3 times the money on Google, pay-per-click, and they got a bunch of clicks and impressions. but they got no phone calls and no results, even though you're tracking it. But the thing is, they like the way they looked online. They didn't like it over here. So people made business. So CEOs, business owners often make bad decisions because they don't use consultants. And here's the problem. The person making this decision assumed that because he didn't like the yellow pages or he didn't use it, that everybody else operated like him, even in face of contravening data. Now you explain that to me. Why can people who are in business, who get the data from their own business to show that this works this way, even though you don't use it, but you choose not to do this, you choose to go that way. And then you ask the ultimate reversal question. All right, well, if you got this kind of result from over here, what you like from Google, and if you got those poor Google results from the yellow pages, what would you do? I'd increase my Google advertising. That's when you walk the fuck away, because you're not dealing with a business person. You're dealing with somebody who's actually been successful in spite of themselves. You take that advertising program to the person that said, if the advertising came the way I liked it, I'd spend more. But because you produced the results, I don't like this particular vehicle. You take that away and you go sell it to his competition. Hello, ABC law firm over here was getting 70 phone calls a month with this ad. 3 minutes. And these were all for people looking for their services. We can give you those same 70 phone calls. Would you like them? And you call around until you get the right law. Hell yeah, we want those. That's what you do with that. You don't change the business that's working. You just understand the customer is not too bright. Guess what firm prospered? And guess what firm still has one attorney there? So, at the end of the day, understand something. Business is business. It comes down to, what does it come down to? Money, speed, consultants. Screw your feelings. That's what it comes down to, among there are plenty of other things, but that's what I wanted to focus on. And the rest of it, go learn it yourself. If you're not prepared to actually go back to school and learn, and then understand that there are plenty of things that need to be done in the business that you just don't need to specialize in. That's where the consultants come in. Let people who are better than you do the job and you pay them. Get the result and keep it moving. YouTube is added adverts? Yeah, because I put them in.
Understand marketing and advertising.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I said this, and I'm about to really piss some folks off. Some people, if you understand the difference between the barter system and the monetary system, a lot of small business owners still think, if you're not really thinking like a monetary system, it's hard to really get complex business ideas to small business thinkers. It's kind of like I mentioned that I'm 116 Seminole, and one of the biggest problems the native people of this land had is because they were Stone Age technology, dealing with people who had gunpowder. Look, if you're still doing business the old way, with bows and spears and no projectiles, it doesn't matter if you have the numbers. It doesn't matter if this is your land. You're going to lose. And I'll leave that on Bernard's channel. But I said a lot of times, if you decide to do business without the numbers, you're still doing the barter economy. Give me 3 chickens for these. I'll give you 3 chickens for a goat. It's barter. But dealing with complex things like business plans, marketing plans, content strategies, consultants, and that's outside of, like Robert says, most people's wheelhouse. They shut down. People tend to shut down things with things that they don't understand, but that doesn't mean they're any less valid or right. And if you're going to be a business owner and do business, it behooves you to go ahead and check your ego, swallow your pride, get humble, and allow yourself to go back to school. This is why I'm such a proponent for consultants and mentors. If you're as a man, if you don't have a consultant or a mentor, that means you are at the top of your game. Then that's what that tells me. You're at the top of your game, so you got to have those kind of results. All right, folks, I'm out of here. It's 6 o'clock. I got things to do. Love you guys. Peace out.